In today's episode, I'm telling you the current case of Dominique Pelicote, a man who led a disturbing double life. Behind the facade of a caring husband and grandfather, he committed heinous acts against his wife, and potentially his daughter. Welcome lambs, welcome to Love and Murder, your midweek mini-episode. I'm your host, AI Jane, standing in for host Kai while she's on a mental health break. If you're new here, please listen to this episode, and if you like it, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more about this case and other cases. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that this podcast is sponsored by our lambs in Patreon. If you want to be a sponsor of Love and Murder, and also get exclusive bonuses, then join us over in Patreon at patreon.com/loveandmurder. Now, let's get into your midweek mini. Dominique Pelicote, a 71-year-old former firefighter, was married to 72-year-old Giselle for 40 years. They met in 1971, when Giselle was 18, and they later got married. 2 years after they married, they went on to have 3 children together, 2 boys and a girl. 2 years after that, the family moved to Mazan, a small village in Provence, France, which is closer to Paris. At this time, Giselle said that Pelicote was a, quote, kind and caring husband, father, and grandfather. In September 2020, a security guard discovered Pelicote secretly filming up 3 women's skirts at a shopping center. This launched a massive investigation into who this man was. During this investigation, and after Pelicote was arrested, detectives uncovered thousands of images and videos on his computer, showing Giselle in an unconscious state and being sexually assaulted, in their home. The videos and pictures often showed Giselle in a fetal position. Investigators also discovered hundreds of conversations, on Pelicote's computer, from a forum that he used to enlist numerous men, strangers, to participate in the abuse. In the forum, on a website, coco.fr, he would put advertisements titled, quote, without her knowing for, quote, partners. He would provide specific instructions for their visits. Quote, come at night, without perfume or the smell of cigarettes. The men were to undress outside the bedroom, make no noise and leave at the slightest movement or sign that the victim was awake. They were also supposed to have neat and clipped nails. This, along with multiple messages where he confessed to drugging his wife with lorazepam and other strong tranquilizers in her food to incapacitate her before the sexual assault would start. He also slipped her Temesta, which is an anxiety-relieving medication. Police believe Giselle was sexually assaulted at least 92 times by different men. The alleged perpetrators, aged between 21 and 68, included a fireman, prison guard, forklift driver, nurse, a company boss, and journalist. Some were single men, while others were married or divorced, and some were even family men. Most of them only did this once, but some of these men assaulted Giselle up to 6 times. An expert stated her condition, quote, was closer to a coma than to sleep, and Giselle had no recollection of the assaults. Upon learning the truth, she said, quote, he disgusts me. I feel dirty, defiled, betrayed. It was a tsunami. I was hit by a high-speed train. The investigation further uncovered that Giselle may not have been the only victim. Police found photos of the couple's only daughter and 2 daughters-in-law on his computer, apparently taken without their consent while they were in the bathroom or asleep. The images showed Caroline Derian, Pelicote's daughter, drugged and naked. These pictures were all kept in a folder named, quote, around my daughter, naked. During the investigation, police also found more horrifying details of Pelicote's activities. In Paris, in 1991, it's alleged that he sexually assaulted and murdered a 23-year-old estate agent. Pelicote denied this. Then, in 1999, he attempted to sexually assault another woman. At first, he denied this as well, but when police showed him that his DNA matched the one that was on the scene, he admitted that it was him. These 2 charges were added to his ever-growing rap sheet. The trial of Dominique Pelicote began in Avignon, France, on Monday, September 2, 2024. The proceedings, held at the Vaucluse Criminal Court, are expected to last until about December 20, 2024. Investigators were able to track down 50 of the suspects who'd assaulted Giselle, and they are on trial alongside Pelicote. Prosecutors allege that he drugged his wife and arranged for dozens of men to rape her between 2011 and 2020. When asked to confirm his address in court, Pelicote responded, quote, "My home is prison, you know it." Prosecutors claim that Giselle was sexually assaulted at least 92 times by 72 different individuals. Some defendants pled guilty, while others maintain their innocence, claiming they believed this was consensual, or that Pelicote could, quote, "do what he likes with his wife." Prosecutors also claim that Pelicote participated in the sexual assaults. He recorded them and used degrading language during the sessions to encourage the other men. They also relayed the results of earlier hearings where Pelicote described the measures he took to keep his wife and family from learning about his activities. The court heard that Pelicote was a man who had a needed to feel, quote, all-powerful over the female body. They also heard that, after some examination, he didn't appear to be mentally ill. Pelicote's defense attorney, Beatrice Savaro, said that he felt a huge sense of remorse and, quote, recognizes what he has done. He is ashamed of what he has done, it's unforgivable. She also said that everything he's done was because it was, quote, a form of addiction. During the trial, the court heard about the folder that contained pictures of Caroline, who's now 40 years old. As the details of the pictures were being read out to the court, Caroline started crying. After a picture of her was shown to the court where she's in, quote, someone else's underwear, she walked out of the courtroom. She expressed that she's, quote, haunted by the fear that she may have been sexually assaulted. In a book she wrote about the case called, "And I Stopped Calling You Dad," Caroline wrote, quote, "I'm convinced I was drugged, but he'll never admit it." If found guilty, Pelicote could face up to 20 years in prison. Prior to the discovery of the abuse, Giselle had been experiencing memory loss and physical symptoms, unaware of the assaults taking place. Thinking that something was mentally or physically wrong with her, she'd been trying to seek medical help for her symptoms. The abuse Giselle endured has left her with severe physical and psychological scars. She contracted at least 4 sexually transmitted diseases as a result of the assaults. Giselle is currently in the process of divorcing her husband and, although she had the right to a private trial, she wanted the proceedings to be public, quote. She could have opted for a closed trial, but that's what her attackers would have wanted. She wants to raise awareness, as widely as possible, of what happened to her so that events like these never happen again, attorney Stéphane Babineau said. Still, Giselle's lawyer, Antoine Camus, said her trial will be, quote, a horrible ordeal for her. Quote, for the first time, she will have to live through the rapes that she endured over 10 years, that she had no recollection of. Her lawyers said that re-watching footage of her assault was, quote, difficult for her and for all the family, but today the trial begins and the process must go ahead. In terms of her mood, there is already a sense of relief that the trial is public and that she won't be in court alone over 4 months with her attackers. So that provides some comfort. She's also preparing herself. She knows her words will be highly scrutinized and will lead to questioning by the defense. So today she's getting ready, she wants to express herself, and she will take the time to do so when it is asked of her, and we expect that to happen quite rapidly this week. France has been working to improve its legal framework on domestic violence. In 2019, the Grenelle Roundtable was launched, a nationwide debate on conjugal violence. This initiative led to the implementation of 30 measures to combat violence against women and the enactment of new laws in 2019 and 2020. The case has sparked broader conversations about the risks of violence and sexual abuse that women face in France. It has also highlighted the issue of, quote, chemical submission, which is defined as the act of drugging someone without their knowledge for criminal purposes. These discussions are prompting a re-evaluation of societal attitudes towards consent and abuse. This case had a profound effect on the Pelicote family and French society as a whole. It pushed France to take a harder look at its laws on domestic violence and consent. The pain and betrayal felt by Giselle and her children serve as a reminder of the long-lasting damage caused by such crimes. As the legal proceedings continue, many hope this case will lead to positive changes in how France handles similar situations in the future. Kai will continue to keep you updated of the proceedings of this trial. If you, or someone you know, are a victim of sexual assault, contact the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 1-800-656-00. HOPE. That's 1-800-656-4673, or go to rain.org. What do you think about this case? Please take to the comments to let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to share this episode with everyone you know and everyone you don't. Let's get the word out about the horror that Pelicote tried to get away with. My last day as your host will be Friday, and Kai will be back from her break on Monday. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again on Friday.